Hey there, English 102. I'm doing an overview of Week 1 assignments for the benefit of several students who weren't able to attend class during our first week. So this is a review of what took place during our first week and a preview to what's happening in Week 2, covering all the work that you need to do to be ready for class on our next class meeting, which will be on Wednesday of next week, seeing as Monday is a holiday. From our course, please turn to the assignments area and start with the course orientation. Inside the course orientation, you will see a writing sample, a Blackboard quiz, a student contract, and a biography. The writing sample is simple. First, read this essay. If you would rather watch the essay than read it, you can do so. Here's a video of it. Once you have finished watching it, write a response. You should have a couple paragraphs of writing, one paragraph summarizing, one offering your analysis. Simply agree or disagree with the ideas expressed in the paper. When you're ready to upload the writing sample, click the writing sample link. Select the draft from your computer, wherever you saved it. Click Browse My Computer. Locate your writing sample and open it. That's just the same as doing an email attachment. There's a Blackboard quiz. This is fairly straightforward. When you start the quiz, it will give you a number of videos to watch. Review those videos, and then start on the Blackboard quiz. The videos explain how to use Blackboard Learn. That's the learning management system that drives our class. There is a discussion forum. The discussion forum is for posting a biography. I suggest typing your biography, and it doesn't need to be long, a couple paragraphs. Tell us who you are, where you're from, what you're here to study. Click the biography link. Click Create Thread, maybe put your name in the subject line, and then in here type information and click Submit. Finally, there is a course contract. This is some boilerplate information about the class. This is a hybrid class that uses both computer instruction as well as in-class instruction. The purpose of the contract is to make you aware of different components of the class. Simply click Continue in order to do the contract. Once you finish the orientation assignments, let's get started with the first assignment for the course, the review essay. Everything is here in the review essay folder. First, start with reading the overview. This explains your first assignment. You're going to read a paper about higher education. It was written by Julie Johnson Kidd in 2005. It's called It's Only a Port of Call. Here's a link to the assignment. It's about 10-15 pages, not terribly long. So start by reading the paper. A few notes about the assignment. You'll need to use both the essay itself as well as some data that we're going to be pulling from the National Center for Education Statistics. It's a short paper. It's about 3 pages. It will be using APA style. You'll write a cover page and a bibliography in addition to the 3 pages. Grading rubric here, recommendations on the organization, and then a series of supporting assignments that you will turn in to prepare you to write the final draft. Okay. The first step is outlining the essay. After you read her paper, write an outline, and here are some tips on how to write an outline. An outline simply asks you to identify the major sections of a paper. Here are examples of outlines and examples of headings. Once you have written your outline, post it to our discussion forum. To do that, you simply click this link here that says Article Outline. Click Create Thread and post your outline in here. Excellent. The next step is working on APA style. Watch these 2 videos here that cover how to do APA style, and then take this test. The next assignment we'll do is on supplemental sources. We have identified a series of data sets that would be useful for analyzing a kid's essay. This was done in class last Wednesday. Here on the announcements page is a link to the outlines that we did in class. And you'll notice that this document also provides some ideas for data sets. Take one of these data sets and see if you can find information about it in the Centers for Education Statistics. So for example, stats on graduation rates, pay based on GPA, dropout statistics and retention rates. So to find that, I'm clicking the link for the National Center for Education Statistics, and from here I can search for different keywords that might help me identify a data set. For example, here is a search for college retention rates, and here is a set of data that provides information about college retention rates. So what I might do, hold on to that link. Here in the supplemental sources forum, I'll create a new thread. Maybe I'll call this retention rates. And I'll cite some of this information. So I've typed in a reference. National Center for Education Statistics 2015 reported that about 59% of students seeking a bachelor's degree at a 4-year institution in fall 2007 completed that degree within 6 years, providing the date of publication. And then here's the references page, give the name of the organization in place of an author, the title, and then the retrieve from information. And that's consistent with what's provided on the non-periodical web document or report from the Purdue OWL. Once I have done that, I simply post my information, and I've submitted that assignment. In class, we will spend more time looking at some of these documents and exploring these data sets to find out which ones are the best, as well as kind of reviewing what we've learned about APA style. Also, week 2, we have an academic writing style assignment. First, watch this short video about best practices in academic writing. Then what I want you to do is rewrite one of the biographies submitted in our orientation and write it in the third person and use academic writing guidelines. So what does that mean exactly? Notice that the original is written in the first person and uses, I won't call it slang, but informal language like hangout and so forth. Look at the revision. I am a first-generation college student. Isamar is a first-generation college student who, in her spare time, enjoys reading and visiting with family and friends. She also enjoys watching movies, eating, and music. Notice also the use of what's called parallel structures. This was also discussed in the video, so that we use a series of ing verbs as a way of creating balance in the diction. Notice also that we don't need to change to fancy words no one has ever heard of, but instead of saying something like hang out, we'll say enjoy or visit. Finally, you need to write a 1-paragraph summary of Kid's article. This link here gives some suggestions on what a summary is, but basically you want to take the outlining work that was done last week and use that to write a short 1-paragraph treatment of Kid's essay that identifies the major points of her paper. I would suggest following the outline structure to hit each one of the 4 major sections of her paper. A couple final notes. In the assignments area, there is a schedule of assignments, so if you get confused about what needs to be turned in when, you can see a list of all of the assignments for the semester and the due dates listed out here to the side. I also make a habit of posting assignments in the announcements area that covers what is coming in the weeks ahead, try to do some recap and so forth. Next week is a week in which we don't have as much in-class time, so I will likely be using audio and video like this to provide feedback on the assignments that have been submitted. Thank you and good luck with the class.